You just heard from our keynote speaker, of course, the CEO of CA Technologies, Mike Gregoire. You've heard that Mike has a very interesting background in both the software and services industry, as well as having a technical background and a business executive background. So that kind of mix is obviously going to serve him very well in his new role for the last 4 months as CEO of CA Technologies. So with that, I'm pleased to invite up Mike Gregoire.
Thank you.
Mike,
See you.
have a seat. So Mike, 4 months, have you figured it out yet?
I have barely been able to find the bathroom, but I'm working hard to understand the products, understand the culture of the company, and understand the customers.
Mm-hmm. So when you come to a big customer event like CA World, what are your expectations?
Well, several. I want to put on a good show, first of all. I mean, people take time out of their days. They take a weekend away from their families. I want to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward and really helping them understand how they can improve their business and how they can be responsible to their CEO and their CIOs when they go back to work on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that in the 4 short months that you've been doing this, you've been speaking to a lot of customers. What are they telling you about what they want to see from CA Technologies?
Yeah, it's a great question. The first thing they tell me is, don't touch my account manager. I'm really happy with the service I get. I like the way that the account is treated. This is not the area that I want you to focus on. I like the people that I do business with. The second thing they say is, make sure that I don't miss the innovation curve. You've helped me with the mainframe. You've helped me with distributed. I'm getting a lot of requests for cloud services. I want to make sure I understand that my applications are secure, my data is secure, and that you're helping me understand, what should be behind my firewall and what should be in a private cloud, what should be in a public cloud, how can I work with different partners. They're looking for insight.
So the innovation cycle is an interesting one. Innovation is one of those things. Is it a goal? Is it a strategy? Is it a tactic? I'm sure that everybody understands the value of innovation, but how does CA Technologies see its responsibility for innovation?
Well, there's a stat that I continues to repeat to the staff, and 25% of all applications that are going to be bought between now and 2016 are going to be software as a service application, okay, which means 2 things to us. First of all, we're in the business of helping customers manage their applications, both the security and the infrastructure to get them. So we have to have a position on that. Secondly, there's a reason why all of those applications are being bought. It's just a better way of engineering. So I want to make sure that we're really taking advantage of agile technologies. I want to take advantage of DevOps for ourselves. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that we're being as innovative, dropping in new releases on a quarterly basis like the best in the world SaaS companies.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, one of the key points that you made and is going to be made throughout the 4 days here is this whole notion of mobility. And it's very interesting because those of us that have known the company now known as CA Technologies, originally Computer Associates, knew it as a data center company. Okay, how do you get people to think about CA Technologies perhaps a little bit differently than those who say, well, yeah, we know the company, we've dealt with them for 20 years?
It really comes down to the products and making sure that those products are installed and going live, driving business value, and then using that customer relationship to help build the buzz and the references of why CA, what did the technology do, why am I better off with CA than any other competitor, and how are we differentiating in the marketplace. I think it really happens by getting customers live and them getting business value.
Mm-hmm. You talk a lot about the move to a SaaS model, right? And you said it has a lot of implications. How about the implications on the CIO? You talked about that. How do you see the CIO's job changing, or how should it change in the next couple of years?
They're really going to become more of a broker than a technologist designing applications solely to run in their data center. Mm-hmm. They need to have a perspective on what applications belong where, What do they do with their data? Does it stay inside the firewall, outside the firewall? Applications that drive business value, how much autonomy should they give the business? And how do they manage it? They also have to get the finances in place as well. I mean, a lot of these purchases can be done through a capital allocation. Right. Some of them can be done through an operational budget. You want to get the right mix and make sure you have the right perspective, understanding how all of this technology is put inside your environment.
You know, it's interesting because for so many years, the default assumption was that the CIO was basically the CTO. They were the top technologist in the company. And for a while, we started to hear a lot of talk about CIOs coming from the business side of the house rather than the technology side of the house. Do you think that's happened as much as you would have thought? And do you think it's going to accelerate?
I think it's going to accelerate. You know, whether it's happened as much as I thought it would be, it's hard to tell. But if you are a technologist and you don't understand the business impact of the technology that you're creating or installing, I think you become a weak executive. Why are you doing this? If it's not better and going to drive business value, there's 20 or 30 other projects that your CEO would rather fund.
Right.
And so you're competing for, a set of resources, and you have to make your case of why do this. And those business cases require the same kind of rigor that any business case, whether it comes from marketing, whether it comes from finance, whether it comes from a product-oriented group, getting put in place. And I think that if you can't tell that story as a business professional, I think the technology that you're proposing just never sees the light of day.
You mentioned in your presentation about the significant R&D investment that the company makes and wanting to actually increase the organic R&D that the company is going to put into this. One of the interesting things about that is understanding sort of where that skill set is going to come from. Are we going to repurpose people who are already in the development teams? Are the people who are sort of out in colleges and technical institutes, are they learning the necessary skills that you're going to need to have to expand your organic R&D in the future?
It's really all of the above. We have development locations all over the world. And with CA, and like most big companies, it's not a shortage of ideas. It's a shortage of purpose and focus. And if there's one thing that I want to work with the executive management team, is purpose and focus. We cannot be everything to everybody. We need to pick the things that are important to us and important to our customers, and we need to hit them as hard as we possibly can, bring them to market with the highest level of quality, the most amount of innovation, and support the future of that technology going forward. To have 10 or 15 different skunkwork projects that are interesting intellectually but never can be productized, that's not really what CA is about. We need to be listening very attentively to our customers. What problems are they experiencing? And take a look at our portfolio of products and find out how to augment those products and move them up the technology stack.
Okay. So the theme of this event, IT with impact, right, is an interesting one. And I think anyone who sees that and hears it understands what that means. IT that actually makes a difference, that advances the business goal. And yet, I think back to when you started at EDS, EDS and its competitors, CSC and a whole bunch of other people, as well as all of the IT technology companies like IBM and Hewlett-Packard, they all talked about IT being used for business benefit and aligning technology decisions with business goals. What's different about that today, when we talk about IT with impact?
I think it's the things I talked about in my speech. Mobility, the ability to access applications anywhere, anytime. Secondly, big data. I don't even think we've scratched the surface yet for the business impact we can get with big data.
Right.
And all of that is going to happen regardless of who's playing. We need to have a perspective on this and help our customers understand how they can use this data to take a look at their business and improve it.
So one last question. It's a little bit off field. I understand that on Wednesday you're going to be riding in a bike race.
Yeah, I'm an amateur bike racer.
Okay.
I raced last weekend, Saturday in Monterey, and I got destroyed. And then I raced in a place called Turlock, California on Sunday. And
As long as you didn't get hurt.
I did not get hurt, but I have been hurt before in bike races. And they put a ride together here on Wednesday and asked if I'd participate, and I absolutely said I would.
That's
and
nice.
I'm really looking forward to it.
How do you get time to actually go out and train, ride a bike, being a new CEO of a company for only 4 months?
Very carefully.
Well, it's like everything else, like you just said, right? You have to pick your spots.
That's true.
Very good. Mike, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care.